Hi everyone. This is a summary of Daisy Jones and the Six with major spoilers. It's based on my understanding and may skip some scenes. Link to the book is in the description. The Six consists of Billy, Graham, Warren, Pete, Eddie, and Karen. Billy is the lead singer. Graham, Billy's brother, is the lead guitarist. Warren is the drummer, Pete the bassist, Eddie the rhythm guitarist, and Karen the keyboardist. They rose to fame with the help of Teddy, their producer. As they gained popularity, they started touring. Before they made it big, Billy and Camila were already in a relationship. When the Six began to rise in fame, Billy and Camila briefly broke up, thinking it might not work. But when Billy signed with a label, he felt the urge to call Camila and tell her. He called and asked her to marry him. Camila traveled to live with Billy and his bandmates. They all got along well, and Karen especially adored having Camila around. When it was time for the Six to go on tour, Camila told Billy she was pregnant. They decided to get married before Billy left. They got married, though Billy was a bit shaken by the thought of being responsible for a child. He went on tour while Camila stayed behind. Billy was reckless on tour. He wasn't loyal to Camila. Girls were all over the band, and they enjoyed the attention. They took drugs and partied with women. Karen was dismayed, especially with Billy, since she had become close to Camila. One day, Camila showed up. She was pregnant at the time and wanted to visit Billy and check on him. She caught him red-handed with another woman. Furious, she left a letter for Billy, telling him he had until the day their daughter was born to straighten himself out. When Camila gave birth to their first child, Julia, Teddy accompanied Billy to the hospital so he could witness the birth. Billy was hesitant and overwhelmed. Camila told him he had two choices. He could either show up for them or go straight to rehab. Billy chose rehab and had Teddy take him there, missing the birth of his daughter. After rehab, Billy made an effort to be a good husband to Camila and a good father to Julia. He was doing great. When they toured again, Camila trusted him, and he proved to be trustworthy. He stayed away from alcohol and drugs. Billy was the songwriter, and most of his songs were about Camila. There was one song that had a softer tone and wasn't too rock and roll, so they thought it would be nice to mix in a female voice. As they considered options, Daisy Jones was one of the names that came up. Daisy was also rising to fame. She had once insisted on only singing her own songs and was very stubborn about it. Eventually, she gave in and started performing. When the idea of collaborating with the Six came up, she was thrilled. She thought they were great. It was finally decided that she would sing with them on one song. Their collaboration was a success, and the audience loved them. Daisy got along well with most of the Six, except for Billy. She was very outspoken and often gave suggestions, which didn't always sit well with Billy, who was used to leading the band and having the final say. Most of the creative direction came from him. Daisy also used drugs and had her own distinct style. She wore whatever she liked, often without a bra and in short seven when the recording studio was freezing. Since their collaboration was so well received, it was decided that Daisy would join them for an album. It was still unclear if she was officially part of the band, especially after her own band had walked out on her following the end of her past relationship. They worked on their album called Aurora. It was decided that they would now call themselves Daisy Jones, the Six. Billy had written all the songs before Daisy came along. In fact, he had already written most of the songs for the album. However, Daisy was eager to contribute. She brought her notebook filled with songs and showed it to Billy. At first, Billy was hesitant and unhappy, but he soon realized he needed to give Daisy a chance. So, it was decided that Billy and Daisy would write the songs together. They spent days writing, brainstorming, scribbling, editing each other's words. And along the way, they fell in love. Neither of them said it out loud, but it eventually became clear. The story is told through an interview format, years after the band had split up. The interviewer is Julia, now grown-up Billy and Camila's eldest daughter. Billy and Daisy kept their feelings hidden, especially Billy, who knew he had to control himself. Behind his annoyance toward Daisy were feelings he never admitted. They even wrote a song about how they felt for each other, about wanting something you know you can't have, but both denied the meaning behind it. None of the band members knew that Graham and Karen were sleeping together. Eddie caught them once but didn't say a word. He just wondered why they kept it a secret when they could have made a great couple. Karen, however, wasn't in love. It was purely physical for her. Graham, on the other hand, had real feelings for her. When their first tour ended, everyone went back to their lives. Billy returned to Camila and their kids. They now had 3, including twins. The rest of the band got on with their own families, except for Daisy. She had no one to return to. Although she came from rich and influential parents, they never got along. Daisy had always been left to fend for herself. During the break, she decided to go on vacation abroad, and that's when she met Nicolo Argento. He was good-looking, made Daisy laugh, and was part of a large aristocratic family, could even be traced back to royalty. They got married. When the break was over and they returned to recording, Daisy came back married, which shocked everyone, especially Billy. Nikki was somewhat possessive of Daisy, but she insisted on touring again with the Six. Nikki came along. By that time, the band was already very famous. Nikki tolerated the worst of Daisy. It even reached a point where Daisy had to be the one keeping them in check because Nikki was going overboard with drugs. They were reckless together. Daisy also realized that Nikki hadn't spent a dime. Everything, including the drugs, was being charged to her credit card. She began to see that Nikki wasn't good for her. It finally hit her when she blacked out and woke up in the shower with Nikki standing over her. He was panicking because she wasn't responding, so he put her in the shower instead of calling for an ambulance. That moment made Daisy realize she had to leave if he truly feared she was dead, but still didn't call for help. What did that say? Daisy left Nikki, but even during her time with him, her feelings for Billy never went away. By then, they rarely spoke to each other. The tension between them was obvious. However, on stage, it was a different story. Even if they weren't speaking off stage, the way they sang to each other made it clear they were in love. The way they looked at one another, how the lyrics seemed meant just for each other. Daisy knew she loved Billy. And Billy knew he had fallen for Daisy, maybe even loved her more than Camila. But he held back. He wanted to be a good husband and father. Camila knew too. She was at one of the concerts and saw the way her husband looked at Daisy. She knew he was in love with her. One night, while the rest of the band went out to party, Billy stayed in his room. Daisy knocked, and he let her in. They talked. Daisy told him she wanted to be clean. Billy was supportive. Their conversation was interrupted by a phone call. They were told that Teddy had died of a heart attack. Billy wrote the songs, but Teddy's judgment always had the final say. The band had never released anything without Teddy. Eventually, the band broke up. It was due to a combination of reasons. Warren wanted to leave and marry his girlfriend. He had always known that the band was just a phase for him, and he felt that phase was over. Graham and Karen could no longer be in the same room together. Karen got pregnant, but she couldn't see herself becoming a mother. She didn't want to be a mother. There was a lot at stake, especially her career. When she told Graham about the pregnancy and her plan, Graham told her he didn't want her to go through with it. Still, Karen had an abortion, and Graham was deeply disappointed. Daisy Jones left the band. No one else knew this. She revealed it only to Julia during the interview. After the final concert, Daisy was still using drugs, and things had gotten worse. She was blacking out often. That night, after she and Billy sang to each other and exchanged looks filled with love, she struggled to get her room key to work. Then she heard a voice. It was Camila, with Julia. Camila helped her open the door and led her inside. They sat down and talked. Camila told Daisy she knew how she and Billy felt about each other. She said she knew Billy well enough to know that he loved Daisy, but also that he would never leave his family. Camila said she would fight for her family, and Billy wouldn't be the one to break it. She knew Daisy wouldn't be the one to break it either, which meant the only option was for Daisy to walk away. Camila told Daisy to get clean and to take care of herself because she wanted the best for her. As Camila left, Daisy noticed she was nervous, even shaking. The next day, Daisy left the band. Julia revealed that Camila passed away while she was writing the book and didn't get to finish her part of the narrative. Camila died in her 60s due to lupus, surrounded by the people she loved, her children, and her husband, Billy. The rest of the band moved on and found their own paths in life. Graham eventually had a family and children, but not with Karen. Camila left one final request for her children. After her death, they found a letter asking them to give Daisy's number to their dad. She asked them to tell Billy to call Daisy Jones because they owed her a song. Thanks for watching. If you liked this summary, the link to get the book is in my bio. Don't forget to subscribe and check out my other summaries too.